Hello friends, this is Kyle Goodman, pastor of Alamance Presbyterian Church, coming to you again with one of my walks. I've been doing these from home, but today I'm actually over at the church in the cemetery. We've just wrapped up the funeral service for Miss Judy Forbes, and of course we had Virginia Kirkman's service yesterday. And many of you know I've also been thinking about and grieving the loss of a mentor, the first pastor of the church I served out of seminary as the associate. These moments of death and grieving of loss have weighed heavily on my mind in recent days, as I know they have you as well. And not only have I been thinking about those losses and what they mean for us, I've also been reading a book lately. The next thing on my list is Richard Rohr's Falling Upward. The subtitle is Spirituality for the Two Halves of Life. And Rohr has some really interesting things to say in this book that I think are so applicable to the time we're in right now. Rohr talks about the two halves of life this way. The first half of life is that season for us where we are learning and growing and establishing our identity as we're building our lives around the things that matter the most to us. As we're building our family, as we're establishing our career, as we are making our home and getting everything in this upward climb just set as we might hope. And then Rohr says there comes a point in our life, and it may be midlife, it may be later in life, it may be even earlier on, but there comes a point in life where we reach this moment of crisis, where everything breaks down. It might be for us going through a divorce, or the loss of a loved one, or perhaps the loss of career and livelihood. I think we know that kind of moment, and we're getting to know it, unfortunately, through this season of pandemic as we are grieving all the things that we have been losing. But Rohr says the opportunity that we have in dealing with this moment of crisis is to grow from it, to learn from it, to fall upward as everything falls apart, to set ourselves up for something new and something different, for an opportunity to grow and mature in our faith and our walk with God, and perhaps to understand the things in life that really have meaning and value, and perhaps other things that do not. And so Rohr thinks that in growing through this crisis, that we have an opportunity to deepen who we are and to understand really how our lives track. That life is both an upward climb and a moment where we experience loss and grief and pain and hurt. That those things in our lives are unavoidable, but that doesn't have to mean that we are lost in them, that we are broken beyond repair. Oftentimes those things, those challenges, change us and change us for the better. And so that's really the challenge that I want to offer us today, to think about Rohr's idea of how we enter this second part of our life, how we get to the other side of this crisis that we're in, this moment where, in the life of the church, so many of the things that we treasure the most, we are not getting to enjoy, whether that be the inability to come and worship together on Sunday morning, or our Bible study or Sunday school class or women's circle or men's group or whatever group that we're so used to meeting with once a week or every month. Whether that be the congregational meals that we enjoy together, like Open Door, or one of our after-church meals, one of those wonderful activities like Bible school or the Easter egg hunt. So many things in this season. We're just reminded of all that we have lost and not gotten to enjoy. But I think there's also a real opportunity for us to wonder as a community what things are important, what things are fundamental to who we are, what things do we need to keep, and then perhaps what things can we let go of to make room for something new, to make room for God to do something different. Rohr says that the human ego will do anything, just about anything, to avoid changing or falling or dying. The ego wants to keep the status quo. The ego will do everything in its power to deny letting go of the past and the present, and it fears the future. I want to invite us to be people who do not fear what the future may hold for us next. I want to invite us to be a people who would consider what opportunities may be given to us in the season that will come after COVID-19, after this time of pandemic is over. How can we grow as a church community in our ministry? What can we make room for? What can we let go of to make that room? These are difficult questions. They're things that we'll be wrestling with long after this pandemic is over. And I want to wrestle with you. I look forward to having those kinds of conversations. I look forward to being in prayer with you about the ways that we as a church can change and the ways that we can grow and deepen our own spiritual life. Friends, that's actually something that we, among the staff and among the leadership, have been talking about quite a bit, even before the pandemic started. How do we make our life of faith be about more than just the things we come to at church? Because the truth is we're given a life of faith, not just a small subset of opportunities to come and encounter God. And living that life of faith is perhaps more of a challenge, something that we might take on in this new season of life that lies before us. But it's also this great opportunity to get to know God in a much deeper way, to grow in our relationships with each other in a more profound way. And that's what I'm going to be praying for you. And I hope you're praying for me in that too. That amidst this season of loss and hurt and pain, that we might not hold on like crazy to what's gone before, but allow God to form and shape our lives and the life of our church into something new, something wonderful, something that can be a blessing for the world. Friends, I love you. I miss you so much. I can't wait for us to be able to come back together. And more than anything, I can't wait to see what God has in store for us next. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.